I'm just Nick, and this is just a Fender 1952 5B3 Tweed Deluxe amplifier. I picked this amplifier out of a dumpster back in the 80s when everybody wanted to be Depeche Mode and nobody cared about an old beat-up amplifier like this. I had no idea what it was when I saw it in a dumpster, but it looked cool to me, and I took it home and plugged a guitar into it, and damned if it didn't sound friggin' awesome. I have it out today because we're going to be doing a little comparison between this amplifier and the Catalinbread Formula No. 5 pedal, which is designed to sound like a Tweed Deluxe. It's specifically designed to sound like the later 5E3 Tweed Deluxe, but they're very similar amps, so at least we'll be able to get an idea of how the amp sounds in comparison to the pedal. I have this pedal running into a car Rambler amp, which is set a little dark for comparison purposes. I'm playing a G&L thin line Telecaster style guitar. And here's what the clean sound into the car amplifier sounds like at the moment. By the way, the pickups in this G&L guitar, the one that we're going to be using today, is a Duncan Little 59 bridge pickup. And normally with these reviews we close mic the amps, but for comparison purposes today we're just going to use this single SM7 mic that's also recording my voice. And we have the amps sitting side by side here on the floor, so you can really hear the sound in the room. And we're just going to record it in mono so that we can make as close a comparison behind the amps, take the speakers out of the picture a little bit. Okay, so here is the car amplifier with the Catalinbread pedal, and it's set up just about as close as I can get it to the sound that, well, you'll see when we get to the vintage Tweed Deluxe, okay? To the vintage amp right now. That's the car with the pedal. Here's the vintage amp. As you can see, the pedal going into a clean amp with a lot of headroom does a surprisingly good job of getting us into the tonal realm, but also the dynamic response realm of the actual Tweed Deluxe. There are some obvious differences. The Tweed Deluxe is actually a little darker, has a little bit less cut to it, and compresses more, but it also has a kind of richer harmonic content to it that kind of blooms out a little bit depending upon how you hit the strings. It's maybe a little bit more touch sensitive in terms of the timbre of the amplifier. Let's see, I'll play the Tweed Deluxe for a second and show you what I mean. So it's a little, stays nice and kind of dark, and you hit it hard, some of those higher harmonics start to come out. On the other hand, the pedal going into the clean amp is a little bit stiffer and has a little more cut to it. And is still plenty touch sensitive. So really, there's definitely comparison to be made. But I have to say that in a lot of situations, I would really prefer the sound I'm getting out of this pedal than my beloved Vintage Tweed Deluxe. Certainly in a live situation, I would prefer the cut. Even leaving aside the fact that the pedal, of course, offers a much bigger gain range and much more controllability tone-wise, right? We can get very bright and pretty heavy with the gain with the pedal. Here it is maxed out on the gain. But even set as it was to compare to the vintage amp, I think I would prefer this response for clarity and for cutting through in a live mix over the vintage amp. Maybe if I were looking for a Tweed Deluxe type sound in the studio, you know, I'd give the nod to the vintage amp if I had it available, just because, you know, it has a certain vibe to it, and it sounds, you know, like an old 5B3 Tweed Deluxe. But really, we're kind of splitting hairs here, and I have to say that this pedal does a shockingly good job of getting us the vibe, the sound, and a lot of the response of a real Tweed Deluxe, with a whole lot more range and flexibility to it. And as a result, I am going to award this amp, excuse me, see, there's a Freudian slip that is really meaningful. I called the pedal an amp. I'm going to award this pedal, speaking of Freudian slips, the full babushka, the coveted full babushka award for just being friggin' awesome. So until next time, this is just Nick for Rock and Roll Vintage, where you should buy your pedal because they're extremely cool people and even cooler guitars. Until next time.